Okay, so I want to tell you the story of Jack and Jill here. In this instance, Jack and Jill do not know each other and they don't go down any hill. Okay, so Jack's coming in to see me because his back hurts like hell and he's been missing work. Jill comes in to see me because her back's been killing her and she's missing work and she doesn't know what the hell to do. So two of them come in, and on the day one, we do the consultation, examination, 4 different ways. We take x-rays, and I do a lot of teaching. And then day one, we're done. On day two, in both of their cases, I put their x-rays up on the wall. I teach them a little bit of stuff, and I make them tell me what's wrong with their x-rays, and I help them so that they have a really good understanding of stuff. Then we do, if indicated, and most of the time it is indicated, a test adjustment. An adjustment, if you were going to go through a drive-in window and get a burger and fries and a Coke, the adjustment is the burger. A therapy such as doing an ultrasound or e-stim or laser treatment or something would be like the fries or the Coke. Okay, so we do the test adjustment to see how well they will do with that, which is the main course, the main treatment. And if I have to take a screwdriver to how I do things for a particular individual, then I take notes, and whenever I see them, I adjust them in that little bit tweaked different way than I would normally take care of somebody with what I see on the x-ray there in front of me. Okay, so we do the test adjustment. It takes a couple minutes, and then they're done for the day on day two. On day three, when they both come in, I say, look, you got this going on that we see on this computerized test. You got that going on that we see on that computerized test. You told me you had this, and you had that, and you had that, back pain, whatever. And so we did on the phone. You saw the pictures I took of you're kind of leaning forward instead of being able to stand up straight because you're trying to get the pain off your low back or maybe a pain in your neck, etc. What you told me was going on, yeah, it hurts like heck. Every way I move seems to hurt. I can't sit, I can't stand, I can't walk for very long, whatever. And we go over all that stuff, and then I present the treatment plan to them. How long you be coming in, how many times per week, what am I going to do besides the adjustment, what therapies am I going to do with it, what is this whole shebang going to cost, and what kind of payment arrangements I have to make your life easier by saving you a chunk of money if you pay in advance or making an averaged out weekly payment or something. So Jack and Jill both say, yeah, I better do this plan. I can't go on like this. And if you can make this so that I forgot what it feels like to be this, I would really like that a lot, as opposed to this keeps coming back to bite me every time I turn around. So at the beginning, they're coming more frequently because the adjustments only last for a day and a half or 2 days. So when you go get an adjustment from somebody, you say, oh, that feels really great. If you're lucky, it doesn't hurt in 2 or 3 days, but the adjustment has gone out by then. You see, if you are squeezing on a nerve and you take the squeezing off the nerve, the muscles can relax, the area can relax. You'll be like, oh, thank God. But that doesn't mean that you are healed. You have stuff that fits around that joint in a healthy situation, like a nylon fits on a woman's leg or a skin on a sausage or something. But in an unhealthy situation, it's fitting like one of those old socks you have that falls down after 5 minutes. And as it gets worse and worse, it starts fitting like a paper bag around a beer can. And what used to be a nice, strong joint is now a wobbly joint, and it's chewing stuff up. If it's squeezing or stretching on the nerve, you feel it. But if it's not squeezing or stretching on the nerve, you don't feel it. So let's say that adjustment lasted for about a day and a half, and then it fell out of place, but it didn't fall on the nerve. Then you're walking around thinking you're just fine when you're not, and you've got a false sense of security. Sooner or later, that wobbly thing is going to wobble back onto that nerve, and oh, there it is again. Okay, so at the beginning, I'm seeing them 3 times a week. And after about 4 weeks or so, the brain has an understanding of, hey, you were a joint that I thought was a lost cause, but clearly you're still a functioning joint. So I'm going to send healing stuff down there and try to shrink that stuff up more like a nylon on a woman's leg. At that point, the adjustments ought to last for 3 or 4 days. So I can reduce the person's treatment down to a couple times a week. And then later on, I should be able to, the adjustments will last for about 7 days. So I should be able to transform them down to transition them down to 1 time per week. And eventually they're in a situation where, hey, I'm where I need to be. Now, depending on how beat up you are, if it's not really horrible, but it's horrible enough that it's going to really become horrible over time, and we rehabilitate that stuff, well, that should be the end of that. But in some people's cases, they've become incredibly beat up, and they will need maintenance care to make sure that I keep them on track once we've got them in the best ability that we can get for them out of that. Okay, so we've got 3 times a week. Then where you would be able to start 2 times a week, generally people are feeling a hell of a lot better during this time, but they are nowhere near healed. So here's Jack saying, hey, I feel like $1 million, Doc. I'm busy. I don't have time for this. I feel great. I think I'm going to stop. And meanwhile, Jill stays on the plan as intended. And I say, well, you sure you want to do that, Jack? Because it's going to come back and bite you again because you didn't get that stuff to shrink up like a nylon on a woman's leg. And he says, no, I'll call you if I need you. Okay. And then some time goes by where he's feeling great. And he's a little bit tight, but still feeling good. Then he's getting sore and tight. And then he's like, oh, man, what the hell, Doc? I feel like I did when I met you. What's going on here? And I say, well, Jack, you asked me to send you on a trip to Maui, and you jumped out of the plane a third of the way there, and now you're mad at me that there's no hula girl down there with a big leaf waving at you, okay? So he says, yeah, I get it. And then he comes to see me for a half a dozen or a dozen times, then he's feeling great again, then he vanishes again, and the same thing, feeling okay, then feeling not so okay, then and then he's back in here again. And this is my relationship with Jack. This is what a pain relief chiropractor does. Now, I will do that for people, but only if they know there's a lot better way to do things, but they decide to do it that way anyway. Jill, mind you, has stayed on the plan. She was coming twice a week, then she was coming once a week, then she was coming maybe once a month or something. And over here, several months later, I say to Jill, hey, do you remember when you hurt like hell when I met you and you couldn't even go to work? And she goes, I guess I did, didn't I? And you say that to Jack, he says, every time I turn around, the damn thing flares up and I'm missing work. This is horrible. I'm ruined. I've tried everything and nothing works. And it's like, no, Jack, you didn't work. Because if you would have done stuff the way it was recommended to you, you would be like her. In most cases, of course.